We have, closed so many local businesses. It's cost everybody so much money. And these are families. The Lowe's aren't closed. The Joann Fabrics, the Home Depots, these big box stores are all open. But all these small community-owned stores, your local restaurants, your local jewelry stores, your local massage places, like all these places, have suffered drastically. And we continue to make bad decisions about how to open them back up. That's our biggest decision today, without a doubt.
Are you going to fight for the business owners to get them back open?
Been fighting and will continue to fight.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Den, and we have a special guest running for state representative in the 31st District, Charlie Adcock. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Lance.
So, full transparency, I've known you. I've gotten to know you. I know you coach your kids. You're a resident for years. I know you moved, I think, to Oklahoma back and forth with your family. But you love Bucks County. You live and breathe it. You don't believe in daddy ball, which I do like. But on a serious note, why are you running for state representative? Like, to me, it's insane. You have a good career, beautiful family. Why are you getting into politics?
I've always kind of liked politics, but I, as a kid, when I was almost 18, I was 2 weeks too young to vote for Ross Perot. So as a kid, I've always kind of watched it, but I always watched it from, as a regular voter, like I didn't really want to be involved. And when I guess in 16, I was a Ben Carson guy. And
love Ben Carson, not to cut you off.
No,
love Ben Carson. Big Ben Carson fan. One of my favorite. I wish he would have won. No, I shouldn't have said it out loud,
smart.
But yeah. But
no, listen, super smart, intelligent, polite, kind.
I love his
great
childhood story.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. His brother's a rocket scientist. I mean, literally, it doesn't get any better. Came from poverty, Detroit, like horrible.
The American dream.
Literally, the
American dream. The American dream.
He, fantastic guy. The first debate when he just got run over completely. I remember it was a chilly night. I went out barefoot and I pulled my 2 signs, and they're still behind my refrigerator in my garage. And I had to. I mean, generally, I was independent until that primary, and I switched the Republican ticket because I wanted to vote for Ben Carson. And when that all fell apart, I was watching and I guess the outsider things always appealed to me. Since way back in the day with Ross Perot, leading up to, Donald Trump, who I don't support personally, his attitude towards different things. Like, you can go through that a million ways to Sunday, but being the outsider and the if you remember in the beginning,
who you support doesn't matter, because I truly believe that, right? So my question really is about this, because who I support doesn't matter, who you support doesn't matter. Why are you running?
I was there, though. I was at the precipice of my answer, Lance.
Okay,
I will never dodge a question ever.
Okay.
So the bottom line is, they debated how he was going to run. Are you going to run as independent? Are you going to run as a Republican? You remember that?
Yeah.
And people said, "Oh, you're going to legislate too far left or too far right," and they didn't know who he was or what he was, because what he stood for was common sense and what policies made sense for America, right? So I'm not saying that I agree with everything that Donald Trump says or does. Regardless, not my point. But the point is, he was and still is that outsider. DC hates him.
Seems like everybody hates him.
Everybody
hates him.
A lot of people hate him. And so my point is, obviously I don't want to be hated like that, but I do want to stand of conviction, right? I want to stand for what's right. And when you watch our current state rep, and he sides with the governor on everything because they're same party affiliation, when you vote against all the safe openings that we've had opportunities, when you again, just this past week, you vote to not ease restrictions on our local restaurants. Who is Harrisburg to tell Bucks County or closer, Yardley, Newtown, Morrisville, how they can open safely, right? It should be up to Damsker. It should be up to our local residents and our local business owners to decide how to do things safely.
Well, 7 months later, we know the risk.
Right.
We know the risk.
We do. The risk is it's there, and we've learned enough that we should be able to legislate smarter.
Do you believe? So you're running because, do you feel like there's? I'm gonna ask this question point blank.
It's too partisan.
Too partisan, or do you think these people are just too incompetent and all they're looking to do is grow their political career for a money grab?
It's career politicians. We need term limits. They need to get in and do their term or 2 or 3 and get back out and go back to whatever it is their job is. I'm an auctioneer. I love my job. I want to go back to being an auctioneer.
So let's talk about that. I looked at your person you're running against. I don't know him, so I have no stake in the game. Looked like he did almost 8 years on the board of Newtown. Is that correct?
Two full terms as a borough councilman, and now he's finishing second term.
So he's running for a third time,
right,
as state rep, right? What has he done?
Exactly. So
No. I'm not saying I don't know him. I don't care.
Yeah.
But all the research, like I don't see that much change happening for the positive in Newtown.
No.
Is there?
No.
And
You're gonna hang. He's gonna hang. You're gonna hang your hat on a liquor takeout, a liquor to go. As we've watched our businesses and bars and restaurants be decimated, you're gonna say that you can sell a to-go liquor.
That wasn't from him. That was from actually Harrisburg.
He sponsored that bill.
Well, he might have sponsored it, but
Yeah.
Harrisburg rolled it out.
Ridiculous bill. Absolutely stupid. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a
And
giant
go drive
gash.
home drunk. Feel free.
It's dumb in every way.
So, my question is, do you believe these people are incompetent, and should there be term limits?
I don't think they're incompetent. I think that there's a lot of intelligent people. I think that they get stuck in a rut of being a politician. You get stuck in a party system. You get stuck having to, this guy needs this and this party needs that. And because they get ingrained in it, they have a hard time turning away from it. As opposed to somebody that's there for a term or two that says, that's not what's best for my district, not what's best for our country. Turn around and go back to their job, and the next fresh person gets in.
Kind of like George Washington.
Well, it's our founding fathers. That's what they intended. They didn't intend career politicians.
They didn't expect us to live this long.
George Washington could have reigned for a decade or two, right? The most loved guy in the history of America. But he did the right thing. He stepped aside. Who's next?
And so let's just talk about that, right? You're going to run. I know you make good money. I'm not trying to put your personal business out there. I know you live a nice life. You have a beautiful wife that makes good money. You have 3 young children. Not young anymore, but
Very, very blessed, Lance.
You're a very lucky guy. You're going to take a 30-40% pay cut to do this. I mean, and I know we were talking, you said a lot of the reasons for you were, and I'll let you get into it, why was you're tired of seeing the restaurants and all the small businesses being hurt, why big box stores stay open. I know you thought that you were going to be a patsy, and you're like, there's no way. I want to produce change. You're not going to, you actually told the Republican Party you're not going to vote just for them. You're going to do what you feel is right. And you believe that people should have more of a voice, and you're going to start polling people and take their polls instead of just decide. Can you talk to me about, because I don't think the viewers understand. You're coming at it from a totally different, crazy approach.
So my whole thing is we have the technology today to do those polls so easily in surveys, right? Of
course.
You're in the technology world. That's what you do all day, every day.
All day.
How easy is it that
we just polled Carly's salad. Does it look like a salad or not?
Okay.
80% of the people say yes so far.
So how can you not say to the 70,000 plus in our district, hey, District 31, this is what's up on the agenda. We're talking about recreational marijuana.
Okay.
Do you want it in your district or not?
I don't smoke, but I know people do.
I don't either. It's not for me.
Hey.
But I'm also a do you guy. Like, look, Lance,
puff,
you do what you
give.
want. Just stay out of my lane, right?
Yeah,
if you're not affecting someone else, then I'm good. But at the same time, then you have to think what comes next. You're gonna have people walking down the street, and what are they doing? Are they walking around with a joint? Are they carrying a bong? Like, how do you, what I'm saying? There's, where do you draw the line as to what's then allowed? So, all those things are debatable when you're and the technology today allows us to get the pulse of all the people and find out what we want to do.
All right, so you're going to use technology. So let's talk about the next issue that you said. The small business owners. You don't believe they should be shut down at this point, correct?
It depends on the business. I think there are some where it's very tricky, right? When you're touching people, breathing on people in a very close environment, like, there's probably specific.
So you're packing
industries.
Airplanes, though.
So Lance, here's the deal.
So I'm not trying to challenge you.
No.
So the small business guy doesn't have a lobbyist. I'm just going to put it right out there, but the airlines do. So pack them in airlines like sardines.
No way.
But a restaurant can't open.
So what did we just talk about? Personal choice, right? Personal choice comes down to what your risk level is in anything. You want to open a business, you take a personal choice as to how far in debt you're going to go or how much capital you're going to invest. You decide if you're going to fly on an airplane and you're going to get on that airplane, whether you're not, you take a risk to be infected, that's on you, right? Same way if you decide to go to the massage therapist. You're going to go to a massage therapist, somebody's going to be touching you in a confined room. I'm okay with that. So from a government perspective, should we be the ones to make those decisions? I don't think so. I think however, if you're a government, also you have to decide that you can't affect everyone all the time, but if there's an opportunity for people out there that are going to create some type of community spread where you could put others at risk that aren't wanting to be at risk, then you create a problem. Does that make sense?
It does, but we have enough, like people say follow the science, and I heard a doctor, a good friend of mine, say, okay, the science is pretty easy to follow at this point. It hurts people with multiple sicknesses, mortalities, whatever it's called, and mostly the elderly. And listen, I don't ever want to see anyone die, and I said to everybody, but more people die a week from heart disease in the state of Pennsylvania than COVID-related issues, right? People don't die from COVID. The majority of them, they die with COVID with underlying issues. So,
all right, so let's get real.
We still sell cigarettes.
Let's get real. Besides God, the most important people in our lives are our spouses, right? Our kids and our parents, right? Your immediate family, without a doubt, in most families, the people you're closest with.
Correct.
My dad is a esophageal cancer fighter for the last 2.5 years. My stepmom is a heart recipient for 7 years. Okay, both of them get this virus probably gone within 24 to 48 hours.
Correct.
Okay,
sorry to hear that.
Don't be sorry. It is what it is. Okay, here's the thing though. They followed the beginning of this thing in February, March, whenever we started, and they listened. Stay inside, stay safe, flatten the curve, reduce hospital admissions. They did everything they're supposed to do. By the end of July, my dad's like, "Hey, you coming for dinner Sunday?" I'm like, "Dad, no, man. Like, I still work a couple days a week. I'm still out. I'm trying to be safe. I can't come here and threaten you and Mom. Like, whatever." And he's like, "Listen," he said, "I'm 68 years old. I fought esophageal cancer for 2 years." He goes, "The last thing I'm going to do right now is stay in my house to die." He goes, "You're going to come up. We're going to live a little, and that's me." So again, it's personal choice. He chooses to live his life the way he chooses. Who am I to get in his way?
My wife's father, my father-in-law, feels that way too. He's 77 years of age with Parkinson, fighting Parkinson. He wants to see his grandchildren. And bottom line is, he's going to live. He said, "I'd rather die seeing my children and my grandkids than live and not see anyone and then die anyway."
Right.
Eventually. So, and you are right. I do think people have free choice at this point. And not to get into politics, because you'll never know where I stand. I'm a very neutral person. But you're going to run and you're going to take a huge pay cut, right? You care about your district. Can you tell me why you care so much? Because that's why I let you on, because I've known you, and it's not that we've never done business together. But I know you care about that new town area. You came back to it. Can you tell me why you're so passionate? Why you think it's going to look like your old town you came from?
So I was born in Lancaster, and my mom moved. I was in the 2nd grade from Lancaster to Chambersburg.
Okay.
For a country boy that grew up on a dairy farm, very different change on Lindo Avenue next to the tennis courts.
Okay.
So it took me a little while to adjust. I loved it. I rode my bike everywhere. Me and 3, 4, 5 guys, we'd ride. We'd go get pizza.
This is a new town.
No, in Chambersburg. So 2nd grade, I moved to Chambersburg, and from the dairy farm in Lancaster, right?
Okay.
So I'm in Chambersburg, and you ride your bike everywhere. You go get Slurpees at 7-Eleven. We'd walk as a family to go get dinner, to all those little restaurants in the burg.
Yeah.
Loved it. It wasn't long until I didn't know it at that age, right? But when I look back at the history of what happened in Chambersburg, what I saw that happened there through the 80s when I was growing up there, and the reason we ultimately moved, is what I see happening in suburban areas now surrounding like Bucks County and our Philly area. So many people, and I was, like I said, I was independent until 2016, wasn't even registered. But when you look at what people have, they move like it's happening in Texas, people from California moving in, and they all vote the way they used to vote. And you take a town that you loved, which has been historic, founded by William Penn, my new town, and you take a town that's been basically conservatively run, majority conservatively run for the last 200 years, right? And the conservative values, and everybody wants to attack conservatives. What do we stand for? Personal choice, religious freedom, free speech, independent. I mean, it's unbelievable that somehow that's a bad thing to be conservative, right?
Well, let me just jump on this, because, if it was just personal choice, personal choice fiscally, the problem is, right? I mean, this is why people have a problem with conservatives, and I'm going to shoot you straight, is the fact that people are still talking about Roe versus Wade, right? To me, that's just the dumbest conversation you could have. No matter, at this point in time, we're 2020. Why go back and start fighting that? I didn't realize people in this day and age still care if people are gay.
See, but I'm not buying that. So that's, I think, a myth that people say about Republicans, right?
But
I don't care that people are gay. I have several gay friends.
I know you don't.
But the party, I don't think, does either.
So why are these topics even coming up?
I don't know. I think it's divisive because they're divisive because it's politics. That's what they are.
So why doesn't the party, this is where I'm going to shoot you straight, just say, none of that shit matters to me? Because it shouldn't matter.
I'm not going to speak for the party, but would you and I want to agree with that?
Yeah.
Sure, I agree with you. Should the party do it? And so who's the party? So who's the actual, is there a person and an entity? Who comes out?
I mean, I still see these things coming up. I mean, the party's going to be the president, right? Mitch McConnell, right? And everyone else that comes underneath him. So, I mean, that's the problem. Listen, you'll never, and I'm a fair guy. You know me.
Right.
I'm a fair guy.
And that's my point.
So that's my only problem with the Conservative Party. That's why I've never voted to this election.
Right.
I've never voted, right? I've never voted because think first of all, I think both sides are just terrible with some of the things they scream and yell. But you got it. Like that shouldn't even be an issue.
But so how can you? But so how can you say their main 3 talking points are what? So the people would argue that the Republican Party doesn't like homosexuality, that they're racist, and what would be,
I don't think anyone says the Republican Party is racist. I don't believe that. I think it's really about abortion and.
I hear it.
I mean, I don't think anyone says the Republican Party's racist. I mean, you're a little closer to politics than I am, but that'd be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There's a lot of Republicans that are African Americans.
There's a lot.
That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, and what are they called? And look for example. Look at Candace Owens, right? She's called every name in the book because she speaks from a conservative platform as a black woman. Okay. Tim Scott, because he's a conservative black man. He's an Uncle Cracker. He's this. He's that. They come at him all the time.
You also got to look at it and say, if I'm just being honest with you, there's a lot of people on the left that people call a bunch of names too because their ideals are so far to the left, right? So I think no matter what, when you're in a public eye, you're going to get slammed a little bit. I don't think the majority of people think you're racist. I don't see that becoming in debates.
Never said the majority, and nor is it ever the majority, right? It's only ever the 1 or 2 or 3% that only want to say everything on both sides.
Yeah. Which
is my point to all of it. So when you start to break
it down,
that's more
on a national level. That doesn't happen in your district too much at District 34.
Well, pretty divisive if you look at like this past weekend where you have the Trump parade and the Biden supporters and the Women's March supporters, and everybody seems to be conflicting, right? That happened within our whole county on Saturday. So
what happened? How was it there? So what happened?
Here's the point. What happened? Well, this is my point. There are a million sides, and everyone wants to say what they thought, what they saw happen. And my whole point to all of it is, why can't the people who want to have a Women's March have a Women's March? Why can't the people that want to support Joe Biden stand on the corner with signs? Why can't the people that want to have a parade and support Trump have their parade? Why does it have to be your event is horrible, right? Why can't it just be a personal choice and you can do you and you're allowed to do that? Why does that have to be hateful?
I don't think people. I actually believe in that. People that know me know this. I think the majority of people have the best intent, the best character.
100%.
I think, and my buddy Tracy Harding, we both said this. I truly believe the media. It isn't Donald Trump that's divisive. I say this to people. He's only been a politician for 3.5 years. We had these problems way before Donald. Well, he exacerbated. No, bullshit. The media hates him.
Yeah.
I think that's where it comes from. People, they watch this news and I don't watch the news anymore.
No.
I only look at stats and data. I live in the data world. And people are like, what do you mean? I just live in data world. And then when you want to talk data with people, they just...
Update articles all day long on the telephone, on the phone, whatever the updates from all 15 different news sites, whatever, and you take from all of them and you throw half of them away, and it's just like this virus.
Do you think the media is new? Do you think the media is real, or do you think the media is propaganda sites at this point?
There's so many different forms of media, right? So the mainstream media.
Yeah, mainstream media. Like, Fox, CNN, MSNBC. Do you trust what you hear from them?
They all have an agenda. There's always an agenda.
So if you have an agenda, it's propaganda at that point.
I guess. I mean, that's what else? What else is it?
So let's talk about on a local level, right? You live in an affluent neighborhood. The 31st is a wealthy neighborhood, right? What are your biggest challenges right now that you need to change effect in? Because really you're running against another person that I believe in term limits. So anyone listening out there, I don't think anyone should be running for a 3rd term, 4th term, 5th term. So what are the biggest problems right now that they had back then that aren't changed now?
The reason you need term limits is because you need to stop the career politician. The career politician that serves on borough council for 2 terms and then does 2 terms at the House and then wants to go run for Senate, and then it continues and it becomes a career, right? So that's why you stop that. And the problem is, I don't know that we have an inherent problem at all in our district. We have a great district. I love where we live. We all love where we live. That's why we live here. So the problem that we're facing today is the biggest problem we've been shown by this pandemic. We have, closed so many local businesses. It's cost everybody so much money. And these are families. The Lowe's aren't closed. The Joann Fabrics, the Home Depots, these big box stores are all open. But all these small community-owned stores, your local restaurants, your local jewelry stores, your local massage places, like all these places, have suffered drastically. And we continue to make bad decisions about how to open them back up. That's our biggest decision today, without a doubt.
Are you going to fight for the business owners to get them back open?
Been fighting and will continue to fight till it happens.
And we're going to talk about schools in a minute.
You know what happened last night, Lance?
No, I don't.
So last night, we had an opportunity to shut down a Governor Wolf veto. We're 2 votes short of giving restaurants easing restrictions and allowing them to make their own decisions. 3/4, almost 75%. We're so close, more than that. That total vote was probably almost 80%.
When can we vote again?
It was last night, bud. We
No,
needed two state reps. Now we have to create a new bill and go back and do it all over again. 2 state reps we needed. And I'm going to promise you, Lance, if I was sitting there last night, not only would I have been one of the votes, but I'd have brought 2 or 3 more with me. Okay? Promise.
So let's talk about that, right? From what everyone's watched on a local level, we heard Governor Wolf's mandate to shut stuff down was overturned in federal court, and I guess it's waiting to go to the 3rd district. Is that correct?
Correct.
When will that go to the 3rd district? Do you have any clue?
No idea. It's when they take it up.
When they take it up. So, and he had to stay to keep the order into effect by the 3rd district, correct?
Correct.
So we're just pretty much in limbo. And Charlie, I want to get into this and why we talked about this multiple times. Most people don't realize that you talked about big box stores and all these small businesses closed down, and it doesn't make sense to you. Most people don't realize big box stores come in, Wawa's, Walmart's, Target's, and they don't pay taxes for years, 10, 20-year tax abatements on a local level because they come in and say, listen, we're going to produce jobs. I mean, I don't want to get into the whole thing.
And then they have lobbyists to help them along the way.
Correct. Can you please tell everybody why local politics are so important to business owners? Because most people don't understand. Can you please explain it to them,
So
Charlie?
there's 2 things. The first one is so many people assume that their United States congressman, senator, and the president are the most important people on their ticket, right? When in all actuality, your local leaders are the ones that are the ones affecting you daily.
Yep.
So like our Pennsylvania shutdown that could have been stopped last night against Governor Wolf is, again, 2 votes shy. The difference is that today, that the restaurants could say, oh, I don't need to abide by the Harrisburg mandate. I can safely fit whatever the number is, 55, 60% in here. Winter's coming. Lance, what are these people in tents going to do?
Winter's coming.
Right?
Winter's coming.
Easy, Jon Snow.
Yeah, right.
But what are you going to do? You're not going to have these tents outside right now. What's the Continental going to do? What are Rocco's going to do? What are all these restaurants that had little smaller footprints that all of a sudden...
2 great restaurants, by the way. No.
Not plugging restaurants. But, like La Stala's got a large indoor area, right?
Well, Mark, too.
But you put all those things together, like so many of these restaurants. Don't promote a particular restaurant.
I like them all.
But you know what I'm saying, right?
I'm friends with all their owners.
And I love food. I love all. I go to all of them. I'm the same as you. But you can't expect these businesses to be able to survive with indoor dining only when it's cold outside.
I agree.
At a 50% capacity, and then say you can't come in and have a cocktail unless you order French fries. That's one of the things we're talking about right now.
Listen, it doesn't make sense. The rules don't make sense, right? The rules don't make sense. They're all over the page. I think people on both sides would agree with that, because some of my friends that are hardcore Democrats would say the same thing. Listen, my friend Shiloh is the biggest. He's one of my best friends. Is the hardest left-wing Democrat you ever meet, and he will tell you the rules don't make sense. Like, there's no consistency, right? So I think,
our governors picked winners and losers from the very beginning of this thing. Okay, his cabinet manufacturing store is open, making cabinets. Okay,
I'm not here to get into all that. I get that, but I think everyone watching will say there's no consistency. Any rational person would say there's no consistency, right? I mean, to sit here and bash the governor. I think people try to make decisions. I don't think anyone went into this with malice.
I don't think you had ill intent. I don't either.
Now it's just so political.
Right.
We're just prisoners of war.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's just political. But my next question to you is, Council Rock closed down. They had COVID cases. The high school. It's I think it's 2 days in person, 3 days virtual. Will you start fighting if you win and start talking to these? I know you don't have any power. I mean, the board seems like they're very confused. I mean, my kids don't go to Council Rock, so I have no dog, but I still like to watch these meetings, which, I mean, no offense, a 4 or 5 hour meeting going to 1, 2 in the morning, it has to be a better way to get done.
I have a ton of teacher friends, okay? And I have a couple teacher friends that want to go back to their districts and teach. They don't necessarily even teach in the same district where their kids live and go to school. So they want to go back to school, and one of them made a comment to me. She said, I can't go back to school and teach my kids at school because what do I do with my kids that are staying at home? I can't, I can't. So she's like, but I can teach virtually at home, and I can have my kids here virtually, so I can do both. So it's a tricky scenario on how you do it. And yes, I've sent a couple statements to a couple of different open school sites. I've talked to most of the leaders, all those different web pages and Facebook pages, and I've been helping them the best I can with information on who to contact, where to go, what to do. So I've already been in the fight, and I'll continue to be in the fight any way I can.
So, and I knew you were coming on, so I did some research, right? I looked in Florida and Georgia, which had schools open now for a while. I couldn't find an article yet, and someone's going to fact check me and say BS. I can only use Google to do this, right? Because if you go to the CDC, it doesn't say...
You're a Google partner.
It does. I am a Google partner, but it doesn't say on the CDC where they actually caught the COVID from, that person passed away. So I just Googled any deaths of children in Florida for high school. Same thing with Georgia. And I can't find anything where it shows a child has died yet of COVID in those two states in school. Now, there have been kids that have gotten COVID, and I think Florida had 2 or 3 hospitalized, and I think Georgia had a few hospitalized. But really, are we doing more damage by keeping kids out? I mean, I'm asking your opinion.
I personally believe we are.
It doesn't seem like it's running rampant in Florida and Georgia.
And here's the other thing, right? So one of the students that are infected, Council Rock, was a virtual student. So you can't blame that on going to school. But you look at it from the other side. Listen, when we all hit the panic button in March, I was on board with everybody.
So was I.
Okay? You'd be foolish not to be. Because
Crazy.
you had infections, right? You have infections going up, you had hospitalization going up, and you have fatality going up. Right now, you have infections going up, you have hospitalization trickling, at best up, and you have fatalities almost non-existent. Very, very low fatality rate. We don't want to see anybody die. No one, not one. One's too many.
People, I pulled the stats and I put it on a good friend of mine, Eric Power. I love you and I appreciate you watching, but he posted on my Facebook page. He said, Lance, California, Massachusetts, you got to look at the numbers. So I just went right to the CDC. I pulled the numbers. It was like California, 40 million people. There was 2,400 people out of 40 million in the hospitals whatsoever with COVID whatsoever. 400 were in the ICU. So now I just literally Googled heart disease, California. Did that in the hospital. There's over 12,000 people in the hospital with heart disease that will die this on one day. So, you look at it and you say, whoa, this doesn't make sense, but we're still selling. And I wrote back, you go look at my comments, I said, but they're still selling Big Macs and cigarettes.
If you focused on diabetes and cancer and all these other things that are really affecting our fatality rate, like we are on COVID,
everything be cured.
You could change the whole environment in the
So
world.
you'll fight for schools to be open. I know we're sitting here talking, kicking things around. So let's talk about that. This is an advertising show. We're an advertising company. You're running competition, right? The way you win is by marketing. I know you're using some social media. Can you talk about that? I know a lot of it's been bootstrapped yourself. Can you talk to us? I mean, do you feel like your campaign, I never even hear you discuss your campaign manager. Tell us what's going on here.
So when we decided to do this in the fall, when we decided to do this in the spring, we knew we weren't going to beat an incumbent that had money from Harrisburg, senator money, so we had to do it a little smarter. So we laid low. We met a lot of people in private groups and settings, small things here and there, plus COVID. Early on, you couldn't go door knock every day and you couldn't get out there. So we laid low for a long time. We joined different Facebook groups and different people. We talked to different people that we knew were like-minded, told them where we wanted to go. And in the past 30 days, we made a strong effort to get out there and show who we are and what we want to do and why we want to lead District 31 in Pennsylvania. So we right now belong to probably 20 or 25 different Facebook groups.
What about Instagram?
We do some Instagram stuff.
What about email marketing?
We do. You got to jump on my email marketing, bro. We got 13 days.
Come on, man. It's 2020. It's 2020. Jesus Lord.
Lance, let me just real quick. I think I have 30,000 emails right now.
Hey, do you have 30,000 emails?
Yeah, I have 30,000 emails. You know why? I don't read email, bud. I mean, no offense, but I don't read email. My daughter doesn't read email. My son doesn't read email. My oldest son at college doesn't read email.
Since COVID, email open rates have gone through the roof, and it's actually come back. Text message marketing has not, but you should be doing. It's free. I mean, you just put the content in, it goes depending on how big your email list. But email isn't what it was 10, 15 years ago, but it definitely works still.
Should I fax stuff out too? Is that
no,
still?
Fax ain't gonna help you. Fax and email, text messaging, social media, Facebook, Instagram. You don't have a big area. You only have 70,000 constituents in your area. So the nice part is you're very well known in the area. But you're more known as a family guy, as a straight shooter. Do you think that's going to help you or hurt you as you go into this? On a serious note, because you're very direct.
On a serious note, the discussion I had in Harrisburg was, I'm a firm believer if you don't stand for what you believe in, you don't stand for anything. So when I was asked in Harrisburg, did I want to run for this seat, I said, well, I haven't really given it much thought. Let me look at what it entails, what the time requirements are, all the other things, and look at all that. And I said, also, I need you guys, God bless you, So let me look at what the time requirements are, all the pros and cons. Let me look at the whole thing, number one. Number two, guys might have heard that, I'm a nice guy or this or that. I said, but let me just say that I'm also the kind of guy that I'm going to always speak my mind. I'm going to tell you how I feel. I'm going to be honest with you, and sometimes to a fault. So if you're okay with that, then, we could probably continue the conversation. So, as far as the nice guy thing goes, I'm nice, but at the same time, just like any dad or husband, you don't mess with my wife or my kids. You're not going to tell me, what I can do as far as who I can praise, my religious beliefs or my values or my morals or my ethics. Like if you're going to try to tell me who I am or what I can think or believe in, then, I'm going to tell you back that you don't have a right to tell me that.
So and I can respect that because I think everyone should have the right to have their own belief system. I do believe that with all my heart. What are your thoughts on mail-in ballots right now on a local level? It seems to be a hot topic. You're running. Do you think we should have them?
Everybody's got to vote, bro. The rules are the rules. Do I think in a perfect society? Listen, we mentioned it in technology earlier. If you are an American citizen and you live here, you have a social security number. You can't tell me we don't have the technology to devise a method where we could vote on our computers or our phones.
Well, it's already there.
Okay, so point being, right?
I went and registered.
With that being said, right, we can all
online.
vote. Right.
I registered online.
So are we all going to vote? We're not going to all vote anyway. This election, there's going to be a huge turnout, right? More than ever. It's already a third of those votes are sent in by mail. So should they be sent in by mail? Absolutely. At the same time, should those ballots be postmarked? Like if you send your taxes in on the 16th, you're late. If they're postmarked on the 15th, they're on time. So if you're going to have rules, the rules should apply for all, and they should be fair for all so we all know what they are. So when you're trying to change them in the middle of the election, it gets a little gray for people.
Okay, I'll buy that. On the final roar, what is your message to 31st District? Because I want you to get it in. I want you to say, why should they vote for you? I think it's important when you're doing something like this. I respect. I love competition. Mm-hmm. I think you're nuts. I want to shoot you straight, right? Like on the final roar, I think you're nuts. You make good money. You have a beautiful family. Why you get into politics, I don't know. I know you wanted to create change and you want to do what's best for people, and I admire that, right? Like I do cops, firefighters, doctors. I have the utmost respect for anyone that does what you guys are doing. But why would I vote for you, if you don't mind me asking? And I'm just asking that for you because I'm sure people watch this video will know.
So first of all, pain's temporary. We all know that, right? We joke about it our whole life. Mm-hmm. Whether it was in football practice or wrestling or I raced jet skis, like whatever it was, pain's temporary. But at the same time, too, when you give whatever effort you're going to put forth, you do it for a reason. My reason is because I want to do what's right for our district, what's right for the people that live in our district. Not because I want to do what's right for either party, not because I want to do what's right for, because somebody says I should. I want to do what's right for the people in our community, for what's best for our future, so that Bucks County remains the Bucks County that we all moved there. Not so we can try to change it into something that somebody thinks it's not idyllic enough. My wife describes our district as a Norman Rockwell painting, okay? I think she's spot on, especially go walk around the towns of any of our little districts in the snow. It's literally picturesque. And that's a mindset too, right? So when you live there, if you act like that and you promote relationships like that, and that's the way you approach things, I think it's also that you can approach things in Harrisburg. And I don't see that happening now, and I want to do that, and I'm happy to do it for the people of our district and for our family and for the future of our county.
That's amazing. Well, everyone, Charlie, thank you for being on The Den. And listen, I believe everyone should vote. I do not know Charlie's opponent he's going against. I'm not going to say anything negative. But I'm a true believer in you should take a look at someone that hasn't been around in politics and is coming in for the right reasons. So maybe just give Charlie Adcock a look, talk to him, and also talk to the other person that's already the incumbent and see who you like better. But the one thing you don't want to do is make an uneducated decision and not talk to both parties. I wish you both well. Charlie, I thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Lance. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please don't forget to follow me at Lance Bachmann on Instagram and Twitter. Follow me on Facebook at Lance Bachmann Digital. And every Thursday we drop a new podcast. Don't forget to listen to it. We're giving out great content. And remember this is the time to build your business right now. Let's effing go, everybody.